Me being biracial, I'll always be white, but I'll always be blacker than I am white. I was always the kid with hip hop music. Probably I had saggy pants, I was wearing tall tees, I had my fitted cap. All these little white girls used to come up to me and be like, oh, are you part of the basketball program? And it's like, no, I'm just look a little different from y'all.
So we were trying to figure out if there's other terms aside from just ballerina.
Not really,
for
bro.
guys.
It's
Like, is there a term for guys?
You can call me ballerina, I don't care. Yeah, man, that's what I do, bro. That's what pays the bills.
I never thought a little black poor kid from the hood would get to be in Beijing or Australia or go anywhere. I never thought I was gonna go see anything.
One of the things I always faced as a young kid was hair. There's a spectrum of hair codes. There's always been talk, especially with young black girls, that 4C hair cannot go into a bun. 4C hair is unmanageable. To me, it's one of the most beautiful because nobody has my hair. They're either light skinned or they have curly hair, so that way they blend in better than someone like me. I've never gotten anything free of charge except for my skin color. Everything else I had to work like a dog for.
I was about 8 years old. My mom took me to see the national tour of the Phantom of the Opera when it came to San Diego. And we sat on the last row of the balcony in the nosebleed section. We rented these binoculars and my mom and I took turns like looking through them. Everything from the music to the singing, the scenery, the lights, just the atmosphere in the theater gave me chills and sent this rush of energy throughout my body that my entire life have been trying to recreate that feeling. Everything about that experience said, this is you.
So we're giving permission to do so. We don't.
Hi, I'm good, how are you? So nice to meet you. I don't think I can fully communicate in words how excited I am to have all of you guys here in this room. This journey started 3 years ago. In 2013, I was the recipient of the Joffrey Ballet's Choreographers of Color Award. I was commissioned to create a work for the Joffrey Ballet trainees. So I created this formal pitch about Black Iris, which was inspired by some women in my life who have helped me be where I am today. My mother, my godmother, my aunt, making a tribute to Black womanhood. And then when that was over, I was like, wow, I really want this to be something else. I want this to be something bigger. And I kept writing, but I put it off. And then I lost my job at the Metropolitan Opera. And that was the bullet that brings us here where we are today, a year later. The Met was a place where I had worked for 2 seasons, and it was kind of like one of my biggest dreams come true, but it was also very heartbreaking. I mean, there was hardly any Black people on the stage to begin with that worked at the Met. And one of the biggest things for me was that here we are doing productions of Aida with a woman basically in blackface. So it was things like that that would just kind of piss me off, that I was like, how can I continue to just sit here and act like I'm okay with it? I was like, I want to create a ballet that's rooted in Black history, but I want it to be original music, original costumes, original lighting design, original set design. Like, I wanted it to be completely original, not something that's been taken from another composer. For instance, Dance Theatre of Harlem has done a production called Creole Giselle, which is a Black adaptation of the traditional Giselle ballet, but they still do the traditional choreography and they use the traditional music, which are not written by Black people. And I was just like, I think there would be something really interesting to create a project that's created purely from a team of artistic visionaries that are Black. And then Misty Copeland was promoted, and then everyone was talking about ballet and diversity.
I'm just so honored, so extremely honored to be a principal dancer.
She is the first African-American woman to achieve this top-ranking honor in the prestigious dance company's 75-year history.
And I was like, oh my God, I think now's the time. I think now's the time for us to do this. We're here today rehearsing for Summer Stage, and I can't tell you how excited I am. So, awesome, let's get started.
I always enjoyed the regimen and the routine of dance. I had no intention of becoming a professional dancer. I loved helping people, and I thought the greatest gift in the world was to heal. So I thought, job security, I would love to be a doctor. Senior year arrived, so I decided to audition for Juilliard as sort of like a joke. There was like 150 people inside the room with a long panel as big as this room of just different teachers and instructors. I remember standing there in first position, and before the class even started, the teachers came around and were cutting students. So the 150 dancers turned into 6. And I happened to make it to the last 6 before they picked the final 2 to move on. And I thought at that moment, maybe this is a gift. Maybe I didn't realize how strong I was to be able to try and compete in this industry. I kept getting drawn to the ballet. I always just brushed it off like, oh, I'm not good enough to be a ballet dancer. I can't get into a major ballet company. I'm too old. I didn't go to the summer programs. I felt like I missed that opportunity to really pursue ballet seriously. But I still decided, you know what, if this is something I love and I'm gonna be happy with, then let me give it a try. There was one company I really set my eye on because I wanted to be in New York City, and that company was Dance Theater of Harlem. I auditioned 4 times and I wasn't able to get a contract. When that happened, it just made me feel like, wait, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm never going to say that I'm a ballerina, because technically a ballerina is one that does the classic ballet works. I've never done a classic ballet work, so I've never done Creole Giselle, I've never done Swan Lake, I've never done Sleeping Beauty, I never did major summer programs, I never did the ballet competitions. I never did these major ballet things that most ballet dancers take to get into a company of their choice. I'm like, why am I being pulled? Why do some dancers have a direct path into their company of their choice? And why do you have dancers like me that has to fight for every little thing? Everyone's like, it makes for a better story. And I'm like, I don't really want to hear that. Like, who's gonna hear my story? Like, nobody gives a damn. I mean, every time you look into the magazine covers, the dance magazine, they're all white ballerinas anyway. I just felt very confused with my career path because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be a contemporary dancer. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be a ballerina. I'm not sure if I should just quit this whole thing.
There we go. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. The Black Irish 7, Project 8. is 1, a 2, collaborative 3, of 4, Black 5. professional ballet dancers from various companies. What makes us different than a traditional ballet company is that we're not a full-time staff of performers. Traditional ballet companies, they work under contract for a certain number of weeks a year. Usually it's about 42 weeks. So basically our collective, our collaborative comes together when dancers are off. It was last June that I reached out to Daphne and I said, hey, I've got a project that I'm working on. Would you be interested and free to come and just play around in the studio with us?
So next thing I know, I'm in a rehearsal studio and I'm working with dancers from Dance Theater of Harlem, dancers from Ballet Hispanico and all over. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing.
I love like that they're so flowy and bouncy.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, huh? Feels good. Feels great.
The first time I met George, he was such a ballet boy. You know, he had his tights and his little bag, and he comes in all gangster with his hat and his glasses, and he just makes you laugh. He's like a little character. At first, I felt like he didn't really care for me that much just because I wasn't a ballerina. You know, I was a modern dancer and I didn't want to get looked at as a modern dancer trying to do ballet. Sometimes he'll say things like, oh, that's not balletic. And I remember getting slightly offended because he was like, you know, when you get into a ballet company, you'll understand. And because I never got into a ballet company, I was just like, this guy.
I was first introduced to dance in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. My mom worked at a dance store, which is still there, called Dance Design. Right next door was Bounds Dance Studio. I remember one day, this old lady came up to me. She brought me into the studio and just kind of put me on the bar. She had these like long fingernails and a yardstick, and then she started poking my butt with these like sharp nails. and all the little girls were laughing at me, and I left, but it was something about it. I enjoyed it because everybody looked like they were having fun, and so I was determined to have fun too. I went to the Rock School, which is in Philadelphia. I remember when I turned 14, I placed top 8 for Youth American Grand Prix, which is a big ballet competition across the world. That's the year I got good.
So we come in the back.
That is when I came back to rock, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the best. I got told a lot in school that I would never make it. They said, we don't raise core dancers here. We only raise soloists and principals at this school. And at that moment, I was like, I don't want anybody to say anything bad about me ever again. Say whatever you want about my attitude or whatever, which I've had some issues that I've had to fix personally, just coming from the background that I come from. But I don't want you to ever say anything about my steps ever again. I'm gonna try to be the best that I can.
6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trying to communicate my vision to other people is the hardest thing in the world. There were a lot of people that made promises or said that they supported me, but behind closed doors actually didn't.
Show a little leg, I don't mind.
Because I do utilize the Black Lives Matter hashtag unapologetically, I think that people are sometimes afraid to invest or afraid to get on board with it because they think that I'm just a vigilante. It's almost as if there's a stigma within our arts community, whereas you can be Black or you can be a minority within the arts and we'll embrace you, but you just can't talk about Black things. So when we talk about racial injustice, or when we talk about inequality, or when we talk about, you know, our hair or anything like that, it's almost like, oh, you're doing too much. Like, let's pull that back. What we know of classical ballet are rooted in European tradition and history, and the fact that we've had so many Black ballet dancers coming together, the fact that we were telling a Black story, like something that's rooted in Black history, that's all about struggle and freedom and power, and all of that is very game-changing. Good. Good. Blackout. Awesome. That was good. It was pretty good. We're on our way. Really now it's time to like drive the story home, because that is what people are going to connect with. They're not necessarily going to connect with how perfect our pirouette was placed, but they're really going to connect with the personality and the spirit of the whole story. And especially in a big venue like Summer Stage, I just want to shout out a couple people in particular that I saw in that run through that really just kind of blew me away, and I don't even have my glasses on. Daphne. Daphne utilized breath. That's the one thing about live dance and theater that I really love, is being able to understand that these are living, breathing human beings. It made it really exhilarating and exciting to like feel that energy and to feel and to hear the breath. So by all means, use it. We are a new collaborative. We're starting from the ground up. We're literally building something from nothing with very little support. You know, we're not the Illy company. We're not bringing in $1 million budget a year or anything like that. And so I know it's going to take us some time to get to where we want to go, but I'm willing to put in the work, and that's why I never really complain about not getting sleep and not taking care of myself. Yeah, I don't know. I really love what I do, and I really believe. I really want to be. I really want to make a difference, and I believe that dance can do that. But it's hard sometimes to get people to believe in your vision and to believe in you when you're not a name. It's really hard. Yeah. So some nights I cry myself to sleep.
And yeah. But I keep doing it because I'm crazy and I love this. I love art. I mean, I love dance. I don't even have all the money to do this project. I really don't. I don't know where it's going to come from. If this project doesn't go well, I'll fail miserably. If I can't pull this off, and if I end up flying people here and being like, hey, I don't have all the money to pull this off, I lose the trust of the dancers. I lose the trust of the funders who gave me money to help me get to even just to where we are. And then I lose all the money for, you know, renting the theater, all of that stuff. I don't know, I'm just so nervous. The rejection in this business is so harsh. It's so hard. It really is. At this point, I can't hold back if I want to see this become a reality.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, a 3, downstage, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Having this type of hair in this kind of industry is tough because like what black German people were walking around in the 18th, 17th century while ballets were going on, you know, it was definitely white folk.
So you're not dancing on the...
So I was at Carolina Ballet. We had a show coming up in like a week or whatever, and I just got my hair cut, and my director comes in from stage left and walks all the way over to me and like, what happened to your hair, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I had to cut it, it was looking wild. He went off on me, and I looked in, like all the white people are looking at me like, oh my gosh, like how did he get his hair cut, you know? And it's like I'm looking at like a bunch of buzz cuts around the room, and like nobody else in the room has to deal with this. That's a moment where you have to treat me a little different because I am different.
There is a stereotype, or there is a way that you have to look as a black man. You have to have a generic kind of look, and this is not the generic look. Where I was teaching, this woman had the nerve to like run her hands through my hair, and I got a number of compliments of, oh my gosh, your hair is so different, it's so unique, very creative. It's just like, I'm not an animal.
I had an incident where I was in Oakland Ballet, and one of the principal dancers was like, can I touch your hair? And I said, sure. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're very nice about people touching your hair. And I said, my job is to educate them, because I don't want her going around saying that my hair can't do X, Y, and Z. So there's all those types of things. You know, the pink tights, I'm like not a fan. I'm like not a fan with the pink tights. And I remember this one dancer said, well, the pink tights don't match us. And I'm like, from far away it does. But from far away from me, it does not match, and it distorts the line. The color on top should match the color on the bottoms. That way it doesn't break the line of, okay, brown skin and then pink legs.
At that time, there weren't any blacks in classical ballet.
Arthur started with 30 eager children in the summer of 1969.
Arthur Mitchell, who was the founder for Dance Theater of Harlem, he made sure that all his dancers had flesh tone tights. So that way the line was just completed. You just saw the arm, a pretty brown arm, all the way to the pretty brown leg to the brown point shoe.
Culturally, it's just very different doing ballet being black. I've been to plenty of companies where it's like very white. And, you know, I'm not disrespecting, listen, pick the best person you can, but my problem is sometimes where it's like you have this black person over here and this white person over here and they're the same, but he looks like everybody else, so you're just going to take him. Like, we're talking about the same on every level. Like, you watched them, their legs are the same, feet are the same, pirouette, double tour, everything's the same. But most time they'll pick that white guy.
I had auditioned for a major ballet company with another dancer of color. And we made it to the end of the audition, and I looked at her and I said, it's either going to be you or me. They're not going to take both of us. And the fact that it's 2016 and we have to say something like that, like, it's only going to be one black girl. It's not going to be two. You can't have that. I definitely think there's a diversity problem in ballet. You know, there's 9 million people in New York City floating about, and we're all from everywhere. But then New York City Ballet has one dancer of color, and from far away you can't even tell. Thank you, beautiful.
There's a huge double standard. In dance, you usually start with a ballet company as an apprentice, or if you're lucky, you'll get hired as a corps member right away. Corps de ballet means like group ensemble. You climb the ladder from apprentice to corps to soloist to principal. Misty Copeland spent a number of years in the Corps before she got promoted. There is an idea that we do have to work twice as hard, and I do believe that that still exists.
I'm saying. Doesn't even rhyme. It doesn't even rhyme.
That was actually so bad. I remember like some boy got.
I would like to introduce to you and bring to the stage very special people, Mr. Nelson Moore and Mr. Copeland.
Great. Enjoy every minute.
Thank you so much for being here and for supporting our stories that mean something. The fact that tonight we have Jeremy McQueen, an African-American choreographer, a diverse group of dancers that are dancing his works, and their stories that mean something to the African-American community that just lacks in the classical ballet world. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Misty. Please enjoy the performance and welcome to the stage, the Black Iris Project. Thank you.
Guys, hold on. Daniel. Tanji, please. Right leg.
Oh, that's not my
I love you all. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. Kim, get in here. Right, Tanji, please. All right. I love you. Nothing to prove, only to share. You guys are beautiful, talented, worthy of all praise, accolades, abilities, opportunities. So go out there and kill it, just like I know you guys can and will. All right? We do a little pass the kiss thing, so we're gonna. That's a Team McQueen tradition that we do.
No lipstick. I know.
Because you don't want to mess up the lipstick.
Everyone?
Here, guys. I love you.
Here, guys.
Oh my God.
A little tighter, guys, a little tighter.
Carol, come, come.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Beautiful. They were so
It
good.
was very surreal. Like Misty was there, and I felt good. We felt prepared, we felt ready, and it felt like it was our time.
This is cool because I'm like around.
Oh my God, you are a trainer. You don't get it. You're beautiful.
I was in tears at the end of the summer stage performance because he really made me feel like I'm dancing with professional ballerinas. And I wasn't told that I didn't fit in, or I wasn't told that I couldn't do the step.
Daphne does come from a more modern and contemporary background. I think that the insecurity within her is based on the European aesthetic of how we validate ballet dancers for sometimes the number of turns they can do or how high they can get their leg up. I think she is a ballet dancer. She's a dancer.
He made me feel like a ballerina even though I don't have that title.
Summer Stage was a dream come true. It was like that energy again, that energy of Phantom of the Opera coming back, rushing through my body again, and I felt like I was just riding a wave. For the Summer Stage performance, there were certain dancers that were available for Summer Stage that were not available for our bigger season. So we went right into rehearsals with new dancers the day after.
We're getting ready to put on a show. We're performing Black Iris, we're performing Madiba, and I'm playing the role as Winnie Mandela, and we're performing a third work called Brown Baby.
And then I stumbled upon Madiba written by Carmen Moore. And I was like, Madiba, what's Madiba? I've heard this before. And it was actually about Nelson Mandela. Madiba is Nelson Mandela's affectionately known as name.
So these are images of the Social tribe, which is the tribe that he came from. And so we're kind of taking, almost extracting certain aesthetic elements out of those images and kind of creating something that will work for what we'd like to do on stage. So we've looked at kind of Mandela's life in three main sections, which are kind of his earlier is kind of these mid-century looks, and at the very end when he's released from prison.
I did the most of my growing up in the ballet studio. The Rock School, and that is the first time I ever saw black males dance ever. And for me, that was such a big thing because I had no father figure. My dad wasn't ever part of anything. My mom had a rough past, got involved with drugs and things like that, so I'm sure he was one of those people along the way. He passed away, I actually read on Facebook. I was trying to show Gabby my dad, and I was like, Facebook's around, maybe I could look him up. I looked him up and he actually passed away in 2010. And I found that out in 2013. My mom she never went to go play catch with me in the back. She was working. I didn't get to have one of those storybook, kind of whatever. It wasn't like that for me. When you're in the hood, you're in the hood, that's it.
If you could have a network for dance, like television network, think like ESPN, where if there could be a camera on if there's a camera on every basketball court, football field, swim meet, this, that, there could be a camera on every stage. I don't know, we're so far behind sports. The big thing about America is capitalism, and what we do is sports is capitalism. You can't go anywhere without seeing basketball in this country, but it's because of the media. The media generates the money. If you took the media away, the NBA would be whack. So you have to put media and dance to make money. It's America. It's the only way. I want to put a paycheck in every dancer's pocket. But the biggest point of everything is, no matter what we're showing or whatever, is to be a for-profit. So therefore, I have to donate for taxes and I can give it back to the companies. That is the most important thing I think that anybody could do for dance, is make the money go in a circle. Because sports, it goes in a circle. Dance, it does not go in a circle. It just goes so backhanded to me. Go pay for the balancing program, but I'll never show it on TV.
But the thing about it also,
that's whack. I'm sorry, but that's whack. Sports don't do that, and they're grossing trillions.
Money is not the same equivalent as art preservation. Yeah,
but that's where you have to commercialize it, and that's where people.
Bullshit. I don't dance because I make $2 million. If I wanted to, I can go and be a hedge fund.
Okay, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, that's how you feel. But what if somebody who doesn't have anything, this is all that they have, and are trying to make something? You can't speak for that person.
But the goal is to get people to come to
I grew up in a rough neighborhood, a lot of gangs. I was outside playing in the sprinkler one day when I was a kid, and I watched my friend's brother get shot in a drive-by from across the street. That's the kind of neighborhood I lived in. I was different. I had a white mother, and there wasn't too many kids like me, like biracial kids. It was either like you're black, you're white, or you're Mexican. So like I dressed a little different, like, you know, most kids had on Jordans and Converses and stuff like that. I was wearing like New Balances, and we had no money, so like I probably had on something from Payless. So I'm very blessed because ballet's expensive. Had I not gotten scholarships to the places I got scholarships to, no way that I would have been doing this today. Absolutely no way.
My mother was a professional ballet dancer, and after the shooting of Creole Giselle from the Dance Theater of Harlem, she got inspired to come to the United States to study with the company.
At the time, Dance Theater of Harlem was traditionally the only ballet company that anybody of color around the world could actually dance in. So which is why once I got to Dance Theater of Harlem, I was standing next to kids who were from Germany, Venezuela, South Africa, all over the world from the African diaspora. So we all flocked to Dance Theater Harlem to get the opportunity to be trained in a friendly environment. And then Daphne was born 91.
We are actually sitting in my mother's studio. It's actually the 20th anniversary, and here in Rahway, the studio is like a gem to the city.
I was teaching in New Jersey in a private daycare, and they asked me to teach a ballet class. And it was a predominantly minority school. And one of the young dancers, who was about 8 years old, told us, asked if I was going to teach her ballet, and I said yes. And she said I wasn't able to teach her ballet because I was black. So I realized that she'd not seen black ballet teachers before. So she had been exposed to Angelina Ballerina, who was even a mouse. So she's never seen a black ballet teacher, but she's seen she's seen a mouse teach. And I realized then that I needed to teach, and they needed to see black female ballet teachers. And I made it a mission for me to teach. My dream for all of the dancers is that they get to keep dancing as long as they want to dance. And they're treated at their worth. I think that's the important thing, because there's a lot of dancers in the group that were in corps de ballet still, and you can see some of them should be principals, they should be soloists. So I'm hoping that they're going to be treated at their worth, and I hope they can keep dancing as long as they want to dance.
Hello, Lennox. Park it, park it. My days are very like 12 to 15-hour days. Come on, let's get you out this seat. My father has PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, from being in the Army and being in 2 wars. And he also has borderline Parkinson's disease. So there's a lot to take care of him. Bam. Bam. 5 and 5. And then my mother recently got diagnosed with multiple myeloma cancer in November of 2015, and now she's currently getting stem cell transplant. So she's in the hospital for 2 weeks. It was very, very, very difficult to have to deal with it, because now I knew it was gonna be, I'm gonna have to take care of my father, I'm gonna have to take care of my mom, still stay an artist. I just felt very helpless, but I knew that I can help if I just get better with my dancing, because if I get better with my dancing, I can financially be stable and I can move back to the East Coast and be with my parents. Bedtime. There's no room for crying and feeling, oh my God, there's no time for that. I just gotta get better.
All right, Dad, time's up. You're going to bed. It's 10 o'clock. What do you take upstairs? And the glasses? All right. Are you taking the wheels or steps?
Step.
All right, you can go on up. Or you can come on, follow. Shut this off. You can go brush your teeth and all of that stuff, and then put you to bed. I started this new initiative at Collage where instead of throwing away the dead point shoes, we can actually sell them or auction them off to help inspire young artists. I was thinking about how much money goes into buying point shoes every year. You know, each girl will have a pair from 14 to 18 to 24 pairs of point shoes in a season. And when they die, we kind of just throw them in the trash. So I thought, oh, you know, point shoes to me are very artistic. They're very personal. But I thought, you know, what a great way to see an artist on stage wearing these shoes and then to actually have the shoe there. It just makes it that much more relatable to young artists. I thought, you know, why not decorate them, make them into little pieces of artwork? And what makes them different is that they're not pink. They're actually the shades of the dancers. So it's beautiful to see a plethora of different shades of point shoes and them decorated. So I don't remember getting my very first pair. I was very young. I kind of wish I cherished that moment. But it's still cool to be able to like see dancers do ballet and be on point and say, wait, I can do that. Like, that's pretty awesome. I'll put this in like that. I'll fill it up with paper. And then when I flip it over, and that's kind of how it would look. Yeah. My typical morning begins very groggy-eyed. I'm making sure my dad's pills are on the table so that way when he wakes up, he'll get them. I get breakfast ready. Hey, I gotta go. I'm always running late. From there, I'm usually rushing to get ready to catch the train.
Thank you.
Bye, Lennox. That's like my crazy typical morning. I have to like organize myself, organize my dad, make sure he's good. Otherwise he'll forget to take his medication, he'll forget to do stuff. So it's hard for him to always retain info and things like that, but it's a very patient time with him. It used to be a lot more vibrant, but the medication and stuff makes him a little slower. Sometimes I feel like I have to get up at 6 in order to leave at like 7:45 because there's so much prep work that I have to do. There's tons of people that need to go to work and then you're gonna block off the whole second row. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but you can't let the little things get to you. Turn this train into my station. Sometimes I do it on my lunch break at the studio, so depends. But this is pretty easy to do, so I'll be done before I get to Newark, hopefully. We'll see. I like to time myself. These are done. Yay. Good morning. Reality sets in once those doors open and you're like, okay, time to like rush and get to work.
Here we go. 7, 8. In this moment, it's basically like the groups of people in like Johannesburg are coming together. Like they're planning like to do a protest, to do some sort of demonstration. They get shut down by the apartheid government. And so basically Nelson Mandela's like, you know, people were coming together to see how they could fight against this opposition. We also talked about incorporating not only like South African tradition of like gumboot dance, but also what's popular today. So Daphne gave us a tutorial of the Millie Rock, the sexy walk.
It's a Jersey thing. It's like boom, yeah. But you're so high on demi-point.
Oh, I should have done demi-point.
No, you should. In the contemporary world, you learn by watching and you pick up things. It may not be necessarily correct, but it's getting the movement into your body. However, in the ballet world,
in the core, you have to look exactly the same as the next dancer.
If you keep counting 1 and 2.
So when learning, ballet dancers are like, okay, what count is this on? Or, you know, where does the pinky, how high is the pinky finger? Or is the head here or is it here? And I'm like, we'll get to that, or it doesn't really matter. I was teaching them the sexy walk.
Like, get that sexy walk. Hey, get that sexy. And that was to the beat of it. And yeah, it's all that club.
And the female ballerinas just couldn't get it. They just looked awkward. They felt awkward. And I'm like, have we gone so far removed into this ballet thing that we can't do our own culture? Like, you haven't taken a West African class, you haven't taken a jazz class, you haven't taken a tap class. These are all part of our history. We have to be able to do that. I was getting a little frustrated that everybody is like scared of this little part that we do in Madiba, because I'm just like, but this is Madiba. This is Africa. This is where we all came from. You know, we shouldn't neglect that. You should be able to hear a beat and get into the rhythm just naturally. It shouldn't have to be like, oh my God, what count does the leg open? Or when does the feet turn out? I can't explain that.
Right after the 4th of July, my mom had texted me and said she was at the hospital with my dad and that she thought he had had a heart attack and all these different things. The next day was Saturday. We had rehearsal and my mom was texting me throughout rehearsal telling me, like, I think you should come home. The doctors are saying that you should come home. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? Come home, like right now? Like, I'm in the middle of a project, like. And just as I was like looking for a flight and trying to figure out how to get there, my mom was like, I think we need to let him go. I was in rehearsal. By the time I had gotten home from rehearsal, she told me that he passed away. We had the funeral a week later. We did it on a weekend so that I could be able to fly out on Friday and be able to get back for rehearsal on Monday.
Oh, best part of the day? The paycheck. And also, getting a lot accomplished today was definitely the best part of the day.
The lows were thinking we weren't going to get our paycheck.
Yeah, no, the lows were when things went a little crazy.
He told us when he left that Taylor, who's assisting him, was going to deliver our paychecks to us. But she communicated with another dancer after we broke for lunch and said she didn't have them. So her and Jeremy must have coordinated sometime during that time. But in the interim, she was telling us that she had no idea what he was talking about. So we were like, what happened?
Like, my rent was due today on my brand new shiny apartment. And I need that paycheck to be there, you know?
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Well, I thought we were doing this as well. So I'm supposed to tell you it's the same as last week. Taxes.
Yeah, okay.
20%?
Yeah.
Again? That's a lot.
So is this pro bono?
Homie. Word, like word. It's not right. It's not right.
At least it's Friday.
Yeah, but like the writing said something different.
Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't going to get up and go get it because I know, right? Like, hey, you can't complain because I was worried. Not at all, you know.
You know, I didn't mean to come at it strong earlier today. I just
we're strong.
Like a
We are
confusion
strong.
as
Yes,
to, you know.
the checks and stuff, I get it.
Of course. And it
It
wouldn't have been your
when
fault.
I first got here, but I get it.
It wouldn't have been your fault either way, you know. I mean, I was just focused on that.
I was just ready to go.
Never dealt with a situation like this.
You know, it's like Madison.
No, it's not my fault. But this is like, I don't wouldn't call it that all the way.
I mean, this is.
I mean, it's freelance, but like.
It's also you're working for a nonprofit, so you gotta.
I mean, but my job is a nonprofit, you know.
I think it's just a matter of realizing that he's raising money for all this and doing this on his own, which is.
I didn't know that he was still raising the money.
I mean, but that's like I feel like you talk to somebody about that, you know. Like it's like sometimes I feel some of the stuff is very shady. Like I shouldn't be going on Facebook and then finding out. Like let's have a conversation.
We started a Kickstarter for the Black Irish Project, saying that if he didn't raise 50 grand, that we wouldn't be performing. But we had to find that out on Facebook, and some people didn't even know.
Yeah, he didn't
And to me,
tell
that
us
seems like
first.
a little like backhanded, because it's like, I mean, my mom reposted it and even donated money and stuff. But had you told me, I probably could have gotten more people to like.
Yeah, we would have shared it.
Put that forward.
My first time freelancing. I'm the freelance king, son. Like, you know, you can't not communicate and then come and cuss us out, yo. Like,
We're good now.
I just don't work like that, yo. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to. Well, I'm gonna come up to you and apologize. I apologize. This is not like me. It's very uncharacteristic of me, and I just like don't understand because I've talked to him a few times, so it's like, you know, I just want him to be forthright because he came at us like we're not supporting him or whatever, but like we're here because we support this idea. Like this is a grand idea.
All we need is like, you know, a 5-minute conversation on like what we're doing and how we're gonna go about this and blah, blah, blah. Because then we feel like, okay, he thought about us for a second. Because we're thinking about him all day, you know? Like I'm in there doing his work. And I think sometimes he felt, or you know, he said he felt like like we didn't support him. And that kind of really hurt my feelings because like I did this project to support him. Like I am here to help you, you know? Like if you let me know, like I was the first one to take a handful of flyers and go pass them around. Like I'm about that. That's what I like to do. Like I'll promote you because you're promoting me. So that's love right there. But you know, if you're like not telling me certain things, like I start to feel like you're kind of pushing me away or under the table, you know? Like nobody likes to feel like that. He has a lot going on, obviously. Like I couldn't imagine to be in his head right now. After he comes back from this funeral, that I'm sure is going to be one of the hardest moments of his life, then I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit more clarity in what's going on. So, you know, like let's let him get some closure on that a little bit, or whatever closure that brings a person, you know, I don't know.
I had been contemplating for the longest time about doing a crowd surfing campaign, and I didn't really want to do one because I just said, you know, so many of my support system, and we're broke artists that are just trying to do what we love. So I felt bad like trying to ask other artists for money. I was like, why would other artists give money to my project when they're just trying to take care of themselves? The night that my dad passed away, all of a sudden, it hit me. My dad always taught me to dream big. My dad was an entrepreneur. He owned multiple businesses, from JM Party Productions to Classic Limousine, and despite all the challenges and trials and tribulation that he faced, he continued to dream big. In some ways, I feel like my dad sacrificed himself for my project. Because the conversation I just had with my dad the day before, or not even the day before, like the week before, he was like trying to help me find ways to raise this money, even if it meant like mortgaging my family's home. And that broke my heart. So I have to talk about this because the whole idea of the project is that art heals. So yeah, I wrote a letter about my dad and the things that he's taught me. I'm not a perfect person, and I've never done anything like this before. It was really challenging to navigate my way through as like an artistic director / executive director / company manager / head of HR. Like being just a choreographer, all you have to worry about is creating the art. Whereas I have to worry about creating the art as well as the money to support that art and the ticket sales and the marketing and it's a lot for one person to do. And at one point, I think I just started to go numb. Oftentimes, dancers would come to me about businessy things related to the project, which I needed to answer, but that does take away from me being able to focus on the art. And so finding that balance was very difficult.